been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.
I'm gonna say something. Welcome to Neutral Voices, the place where your voice matters. And tonight is our live show where we laugh, inspire, vibe, and educate. Unfortunately, tonight we're going to be talking about homeless people, homelessness in Fort
Yes.
Wayne. And that's not really a happy subject, but we're going to make it as light as we can.
Yes.
But we're going to get down to the nitty gritty so we can find out what's really going on and why we have so many homeless people. First of all, in a country that's so rich.
Right.
That's what
That's
kind
what
of
really
disturbs me.
just crazy. How can you be homeless and unfortunate when our country is one of the richest countries in the world, if not the richest country in the world?
It makes me feel like somebody has dropped the ball.
Yes.
And what's sad, I was looking at a video, and honestly, the guy that was upset about the homeless people sleeping by the river,
Mm-hmm.
the St. Mary's
Yeah.
River,
Yeah.
he was more concerned about the river than the people
Yes.
being homeless.
Exactly.
So zero compassion.
No.
And I started thinking about some of the videos we watched last night
Yes.
doing our reaction segment.
Yes.
And I mean, I just really had to think about that when the guy was saying that some of these people that's looking at him and judging him, that could be them
Right.
at any time.
Right.
One paycheck away for a
Yeah,
lot of
everybody,
Hey,
most people are one
it-
paycheck away.
And do y'all realize during this time with the whole COVID thing, how many people
Yes.
have really been
losing their homes because they don't have the
evicted.
income.
Well, I mean, that's a key thing right there. People are losing their homes because of this COVID, and they're getting evicted, and being that they're being evicted, it's hard for them to find somewhere else to go.
Yeah, with that
Yes, sir.
eviction on
Without
your
an
record.
eviction on your record.
Yeah.
And you know what? And so thank God for the ones that do have vehicles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are sleeping in their cars. Now, have you ever seen a person
Yes.
like you? I mean, like literally, you walk
Yes.
up and you see that
Yeah,
that person
they have
has
all their possessions
everything,
in the car.
everything
Yes.
that they own in their vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, their whole life is in the car.
Man, that is so sad.
That is real
So,
sad.
so let me ask this question. I know last night one of the things we mentioned and you talked about was Charles Barkley. There was a little video clip we watched.
Yes, the video clip was it really shocked and amazed me because it had two millionaires talking about they were on a strip, and it was Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan, and they were on a strip. And Charles Barkley said he reached in his pocket to give this homeless man some money, and Michael Jordan slapped his hand and told him if he could ask for money, he can ask, "May I take your order, please?" at McDonald's.
Right.
I find that insensitive, like you said, the guy with the river. I
Yes.
mean, for you to be that insensitive, I understand you probably think you're getting conned or whatever,
Yeah.
but for you to have more than all of America, mostly, and you're just that insensitive to a person in need, that just kind of bothered me.
But haven't you, I mean, honestly, I help homeless, I give to the homeless, but haven't you seen people and something just told you, nah, not this one, right? Not this one.
Sometimes you feel
but
the vibe.
yeah, you
I-
have that. But
you
then you
feel
have
the
that
vibe.
other time where you like, no, I actually will pass them, turn around, come back.
Right. Right.
You have it for some reason. You just have that nudge in your spirit that I need to
It's
do
funny you
this.
brought that up. Can I tell a story? And it's a local story, and people know who this is.
Yeah.
One day I was getting breakfast at this Hardee's right up here, and Ned walks in, and Ned is asking people for money, and he hadn't eaten in so many days. But then Ned, the management was telling Ned, if you're not going to order, you have to leave. And Ned got into it with the argument with the manager, and then he said, well, I'm going to buy something, I'm going to buy something. He said, well, if buy something to leave. And Ned was asking him for the cheapest thing on the menu. And they went back and forth about 5 minutes. Then Ned said, I can buy whatever I want. And he pulls out this wad of money.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it was funny because I was like, dude, you was just asking
That,
everybody
but
on
that
the
is the
street.
story that happens so many times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that happens a lot. You go to a bigger city that they on the corner with they signs, and
Yeah.
you walk around the corner and they jumping in a S500.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute, you was just, but don't even worry about it. And it throws you off because
Yeah.
there's people that actually need it
Yes.
that's
Right.
out there. So it makes you not want to give it to the person that actually need it because guess what? I'm gonna go get me a sign, stick out on the corner, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
park
But
my
at
Yeah.
but at the same time, when we give, who are we as people to judge the need for the giving? When you reach
Yeah.
into your heart and you give something, to me, it doesn't matter what it's for because once you give it,
It's no longer
None
yours.
of your
it's no
business.
longer yours.
exactly.
Out
But
of
but
your
it's only
control.
human.
But I don't want to be hustled.
I know, but
No,
some people do.
absolutely.
Some people do stand there and police to see where's this dollar gonna go.
Yeah.
I could care less where
And,
the dollar goes.
but there are some people they won't give it because they're like, no, you're not taking my dollar. Now I do respect the people that will say, I will feed you.
Yes.
I will take you.
I'm
I
more
will
that person.
go
I'm
get
more that
you
person.
food, bring it to you,
Yeah.
etc. But no to every homeless person. Now, Jill, what comes to your mind when you think of the homeless in Fort Wayne, Indiana?
I think really it's all about perspective. I mean, I know for myself, whenever I see a homeless person, regardless of where they are, I feel first. And a lot of people judge first. You have to nobody is immune. Homelessness does not discriminate against you or your children or
That's
your
right.
mother or your father.
Mhm.
It is for people who have money to joke about it, or even people who don't have money to joke about it. It is very, very sad. Very sad. We talk about people dropping the ball. That's dropping the ball all over the place, and then laughing at the situation on top of it.
And that's what I was going to say. That's what hurts me in this, because I live here, and to know that this actually exists. Because for a long time, I guess maybe I was naive. I didn't realize that we had so many homeless people. And now, as an adult, and you're driving around and you actually see them, you want to get out of your car to help them, but it could be dangerous.
Right, and
right?
just to give you an idea, I know we're going to hit on how many homeless people we do have in the area and nationally both. But just to break it down for you, 4 out of every 10 people right now could not afford a $400 emergency. A $400 emergency could be, that could be the difference of being homeless, paying your rent, or not.
Absolutely.
Right.
40% of Americans are one paycheck away
Yes.
from being homeless.
Yes.
So you are not immune. You are actually probably closer than you think to being out on the street.
And people don't realize when you say that you're speaking to the people that by the time they get their check, really is already spent.
Right.
You
Right.
owe it out to everything.
Right, and that's without
So-
an emergency.
without an emergency. So all it takes is for COVID to stick around a little while longer and things to continue to shut down
Yes.
and people and then they don't listen. They keep going back and forth with the stimulus check.
Mm-hmm.
And people are scared.
Yeah, people
Right
are
now,
scared.
people are this community. People are fearful, and I work for the school system, but that nothing is guaranteed.
Right.
You don't know how things are gonna go.
You don't. You don't.
So, Clarence, what about our tax dollars? Are we helping the homeless at all? I know we have a beautiful rescue mission that
Yes.
was just built, but talk to me about the taxes.
Well, in Fort Wayne alone, right now, there's approximately, and I say approximately because the last count could not be totally taken due to the COVID, and they were not out really taking the actual census of the homeless. So this is an approximate number of the last count. There are 3,500 individuals right now in Fort Wayne, approximately and above, that are homeless. But our tax dollars, the city of Fort Wayne got a grant from the from the United States HUD department. They got a $1.7 million grant. And out of that $1.7 million, they gave $600,000 to the Interfaith Hospitality Homeless Network.
And let's talk about that. You mentioned that interfaith
Interfaith
is
Hospitality.
the moms and children,
Mothers
or
and children
and father,
families.
right?
It's
That's a
actually
full
family.
family.
That's a full family.
Absolutely.
So they gave, $600,000 to them. They actually gave $200,000 to Brightpoint in their homeless
Okay.
prevention
Program.
program for their
Okay.
grant. They also gave, they had set aside $200,000 for the COVID. The COVID are people out there with COVID. So they're setting up like COVID shelters for people that are homeless and that may be affected by COVID. So they got 200,000 to set up those shelters. And they also gave Blue Jacket right up the street. They gave them
Yeah.
$50,000
Blue Jacket
for
is an
like cleaning
amazing.
and sanitation and all of those
Yes.
kind of products. So Fort Wayne has the money and they are seeming to do some of the resources, but it doesn't look like it because the number of people are still being homeless in Fort Wayne.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Let me just remind you, please don't forget to comment, leave a question, or call in and interact with
Right.
us.
I want to bring up something, in regards to what you just said. I actually work in the housing market. So there are a lot of resources. Bright Point, I mean, there is a lot of homeless prevention programs out there. Here's an issue. And this is from my personal experience. I'm not going to mention any names, but I had a 44-year-old man come to me. He had been fired from his job. He didn't know how he was going to pay his rent. He has no family. He didn't even know how to file for unemployment, let alone know where these resources are. He said, "I'll be out tomorrow." I said, let me help you. I'll be out tomorrow. That he had no idea where to even go other than I'm going to go out in the street. So
That's almost just
The-
hopeless, right?
Right.
Just lost hope.
right, these resources are out there,
So
but that
sad.
doesn't mean that anybody knows where they are or how to do it.
So
he was
we
just,
need to help
to
them
figure
and
out-
guide
yeah,
them.
we
need
to
Right,
figure
And
out
that's
how
why
can
we're
we
here.
do it.
Neutral Voices, we want to bring awareness to the homeless issue in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And if you know someone that's homeless, someone that's suffering for whatever reason, because there's so many reasons why a person could be homeless. You know what comes to my mind right now, thinking about the state facility that closed. It was the state mental health facility.
state school.
Yeah, stay
Right.
full.
And that was a place I was working there. A lot of people I know was working there, and that was a great facility. But they closed down all of a sudden.
Yes.
What happened to all of those people?
Yes.
Some of those people,
Some of those people ended up homeless.
Right,
Number
right.
one.
unfortunately, are on the streets with no one to care for them.
right.
Yes.
And so we need to make sure. So make sure you check it out. We're going to have our resources listed for you, but we're going to be talking about that throughout, and that way you can get some help, because this can happen to anybody. Now, we do understand that there are some people that's homeless for a night,
Yes.
homeless for a week. We're not talking about those
Right.
people.
It's the
You
people
sleeping on
that's
people's couches
Yeah.
for a moment.
Right.
We're talking
Yeah.
about the real
homeless.
homeless people that's
Yes.
out there with no food, no shelter.
Right.
It's cold, people. We live in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah.
You know how cold it gets?
Yes.
So we need to be given blankets and what do they call those bags that they sleep in? The sleeping bags. They have a name.
The Parkas.
Somebody will know it. Comment it.
Yeah.
If you know it, comment it. Those are the sleeping bags.
Yes.
They have a special name because they can even transform into a coat,
Yes.
or they keep the body at a certain temperature.
Right.
So they have a special name. But leave some comments and share to help someone, whoever may read this post.
You bring up a good point, with mental illness. And I chose this national number because the local numbers are kind of hard to grasp, especially right now. But with the over 500,000 people that are sleeping on the streets nightly, half of those people have a mental illness. A fourth of those people have a very serious mental illness.
Now,
So, I mean, if you think schizophrenia is hard enough to live with at home under constant care, let alone out on the streets with no one, with no care, nothing. So not only do people
bipolar.
who have mental illnesses end up out there, they almost remain out there
That's right.
because of their illness.
And I'm just saying that. And I say bipolar because so many people have that and suffer from
Yeah,
that.
yes.
And then guess what? Family want to put them out.
Right,
Yes.
right,
You can't be here with
right.
that. We have a caller. Hello.
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 Hey, how you
Yes.
doing?
Hi.
Hello.
Do
How you
have-
doing?
Real good. What's your name?
James,
James. Do you have a comment or a question?
about the homeless people.
Yes.
Well, it's really hard when they ain't willing to build programs and homeless shelters for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When you build a homeless shelter right across the street from the liquor store, how is that helping people?
That's key right there. That's a
Wow.
key thing right there.
We actually talked
You know.
about that.
That's like just setting them up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
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 So how can you say I'm trying to help this person when you're putting the temptation right in their face?
Well, I
That's
mean,
very
here's
good.
the other part about it. Everybody that goes
Oh.
to the homeless shelter,
Hold on.
Hold on. Go ahead, James. Did we lose you?
James.
Go ahead with your question, E.
Well, here's the thing: everybody that goes to the homeless shelter doesn't necessarily have an addiction,
Right.
Right.
and that's. I mean, we also have to remember that. So I mean, there's a lot of people men that that does have an addiction. Yes, that's hard on them.
Yes.
But you can't discredit them. People that doesn't have any addiction just need help to move forward.
Yes.
Right.
And I agree. And I think the shelter being built because they said and it's sad that the necessity was we need a biggest homeless shelter, so we're gonna build the biggest homeless shelter.
And that's great.
And I would have thought you could have channeled those resources to something else, but I guess they thought the biggest homeless shelter would because they saw the numbers getting bigger.
Right.
So I do commend them for building it, but there's a catch-22. Could that money had not been allotted to some other program or entity that would have prevented homelessness where you didn't need to build the biggest homeless shelter?
Which would be
Right.
what? When you talk about
Yeah,
something that would prevent someone being homeless, like what would your ideas be if you were sitting on a panel and they asked you to come up with something like that?
Well, let's look.
Before
Bright
you
point. Go ahead.
before you say that, I just want to see. Did we lose our caller, James? Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you for calling, and you are welcome to call us back. But you brought up a very, very good point, and that was something that we were talking about actually earlier
For
today.
sure.
Yes.
But you were saying programs like Brightpoint. Brightpoint has a homeless prevention. You know, I think if there was some cities are building these little cabins or like mini houses, I think is what they call them, and they're putting them on corners and they're giving people places
Almost
to stay.
like sheds.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
But you can stay there for, and I think they have running water, but you can stay there for an indeterminate amount of time.
And I was just getting ready to say, wouldn't it be amazing? There's a lot of people in our community with a lot of money. Wouldn't it be amazing if they just actually purchased land, put a lot of those little tiny homes
Just
on
for,
that land,
just
Yeah.
for the homeless.
and that way they could stay there without any restrictions or any time limit, and they can stay there and give them an opportunity to get on their feet.
Right, right. 'Cause
I
think
mean,
about
that's what I see.
it. Yes.
And I believe, I believe that would make a difference. And we start dreaming, and that's what I'm hoping. Maybe somebody is
I mean,
actually listening and they think
I
of the
see
same thing.
I see that point, but you got to look at it from another angle.
Uh-oh,
on that,
what's the
too.
other
What's
angle?
that other-
There's
Because you
always the other angle.
Yeah, you got to look at it from the standpoint just because you got that spot,
Yes.
it's gonna be people that don't try to live there for the rest of their lives,
Right.
and
right.
it's not set up to live. for the
No,
rest
because
of their
then we
lives.
implement a program.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I mean-
because they stay there, then we educate them, and we're not charging them for that education, but we're dreaming right now.
Yeah.
But there's people out there, there's people in this community that can make this happen.
Right.
Yes.
Y'all realize
Right.
that?
Yes, it is.
So, I mean,
So listen, so right away, I'm thinking about the vets.
Yes.
So when I don't know, you guys ever been in the military?
No, I haven't.
I have family that's
Okay, I was gonna say, and I have family, but my heart just bleeds when I think about them coming home and there's zero support in the community. And here you have served for your country,
I honestly
and you're
feel
homeless.
if you've been a vet and you went to war for this country, when you come back, there's no reason you should be homeless.
Right, and I know you
I mean,
mentioned
no
that.
reason.
You mentioned that.
It should be a
but,
path.
So do
straight
you,
through.
when you say that, should they, get VIP treatment?
Yes.
Over somebody else?
Yes.
Is that so? You're being honest
I honestly
about that
believe they
feeling?
need if you fought for this country, you should be VIP. Period.
Yay, vet.
And
I
with
mean, just think about it. There's a lot of vets that are injured, that are
Yeah.
homeless.
Yes.
Disabled,
Disabled
too.
vets that are homeless.
Definitely.
Yes.
And I definitely wouldn't have a problem catering to
I wouldn't either.
them and serving them. But let's ask this question. Now, we always talk, we are talking about that, and we talk a good talk. How many of us, everybody, I'm talking to everybody,
Mhm.
have actually volunteered our time to work at the shelter or to serve the homeless or anything like that? And not just talking to this panel, but I'm talking to you guys,
Yes.
viewers. Comment, share. If you haven't, no judgment, but try it. Thanksgiving is coming up, holiday season, and beyond. try it. It really changes your
Yes,
life.
Yes,
it's
it does.
eye-opening. It's absolutely eye-opening.
Yeah, so we have to stop just talking about it, right?
Even take your children. There's a lot of things that the kids have to be a certain age in order to, to help or to serve or things like that. But it is extremely eye-opening, regardless of what stage you are in your life.
Yes. And taking children, I think, would be an eye-opening thing too, because there's over an estimated 1.2 million children in this country that
My
are
God.
homeless. Children. That's not counting, the adults or anything. 1.2 million children. And I saw earlier this year that there were 2 children in California, I believe it was. They were sitting out in front of a Taco Bell, and somebody made it go viral because they were trying to go to school being homeless. They didn't have any internet at home, so they had to go pick up the free Wi-Fi at a Taco Bell.
Exactly.
So,
Why would that bother anybody? Why would that bother you?
well, we get insensitive. Think about, businesses. They don't, in New York, they sweep them. They don't want them around their businesses. They have police officers come do sweeps
Yep.
regularly. They don't, because they say it drives down the business.
deterrent.
Deterrent.
you talked about, did you mention the police?
Yes.
Did you mention the
Yes. Yes.
Well, unfortunately, in Fort Wayne, I do know one homeless guy talked about how the police actually, what is it called? A sweep?
The sweep.
Comes through. He's moving things, taking things, took his Bible that had all of his family pictures in it. And that was the only thing he had to his name that was valuable to him. That was his treasure. They throw away people's blankets, etc. And like they said, maybe it's it has no value to the police. But to them, to that homeless person, that's the only thing they actually have.
It's everything. And a lot of times you'll see, just the other day, I saw what was probably an 80-year-old woman, super frail, about half my size, pushing a grocery cart that probably weighed more than she did with a garbage bag. I mean, she
Wow.
looked tired and dirty and hungry. And I sat there until somebody honked at me at the light because that hurts
Just
my heart. How do you look
horrified.
at that and not picture your mother or your
That's
grandmother
right.
or anybody? How do you look at that and say, that's disgusting,
Well,
or that's this, or how do you do that?
Dr. V mentioned police and a sweep. And it bothered me with the city of Fort Wayne. Yeah, they have all this money and they, allocate it to the right different things. But when they were building Promenade Park downtown, they did these sweeps regularly. They cleared out a lot of the homeless camps and everything down there. And I don't think it was a deterrent or anything for the city or, worried about the river. I think it was a strategic business thing because they were building that Promenade Park.
They wanted to clear them
They
out.
wanted to clear them out.
So
Get
they-
them
it's
away
it's
from this
basically
beautiful
there.
park.
So
We want it, so
we
move.
as individuals feel like you do, but then when the corporate and the government don't see these people as people and they just take their property and everything and just move them
Well, see,
like they don't have a
It's-
purpose.
It's crazy because it cost them. They did 2 sweeps. And it cost them almost $25,000 to do sweeps. So if you're gonna spend $25,000 to do a sweep, give me $25,000 and put in. If you're gonna sweep, it,
Invested in something
invest in
else
something that they can maneuver and move into.
Yes.
for the homeless.
For the homeless.
Exactly. I give back to the homeless. I agree with that. So in our community, just look at yesterday and today. Do you guys see any changes? Did anything change from 3, 4, 5 years ago? Are we improving? I mean, our mayor, he's doing amazing things downtown. They're talking about the electric work. I mean, you keep hearing all these things, but are we doing anything for the homeless?
It doesn't look like we are. I mean, we can talk about the programs we have all day long. You bring up a great point with the veterans. I'm going to go back to that. There are veteran programs for housing. However, how do you hear about a program if you're
If you're
sleeping
on
on
the
the street,
street.
you have no internet, you have nothing? People don't come out and say, hey, just so you know, there's a program that we can help you with.
I
That
mean,
doesn't
and
happen,
even
but why doesn't it happen?
Well,
and
even
I-
with the vets, like the vets, you have to jump through so many
Yeah.
hoops.
See?
I mean, and I know for a fact you have to literally jump through.
And why
Amazing
can't we?
hoops.
Why can't we, Fort Wayne? Why can't we, Mayor? Why can't we have signs posted? If you need help, if you're homeless, call 211. Something posted so people know what to do. If they don't have a phone, now y'all do know some homeless people have
They do.
telephones,
Yes.
Oh,
right?
do.
they got
And-
these
And I'm
telephones.
not judging.
Yeah.
Good for them.
That's a
That
lifeline.
that's right.
Yeah.
But they need to be able to find help. Why don't we have signs posted so there's an address or something so they
Because-
know where to go?
Because too many people look at this and say, That's not my problem.
That's it.
And it's not your problem,
That's
but
exactly
it's our
what it
duty.
is.
It's our duty. It's our rent to live on this planet, to care about other people, period.
That's
But
right.
it's not your problem.
That's right. And I know everybody say, don't keep talking about the churches, and the churches can't do everything.
Right.
But it's amazing when you find a church that has a program
Right.
that caters to the homeless. And I remember there was a program in Fort Wayne. Now, if this is you, amazing program. It was cheeseburgers. It was something to do with the cheeseburger program, and they would buy
Buy
all these
100
cheeseburgers and
cheeseburgers
go,
a day?
yes,
Yes.
yes. Cheeseburger Ministries, I
Yes.
believe it
Right,
was.
100
right.
cheeseburgers
And
a
they
day.
would pass out cheeseburgers
But-
to the
but
homeless.
You touched on resources in St. Mary's Soup Kitchen. That is a good resource for homeless people. They feed numbers
Yes,
of homeless
thank
people.
you,
And they
St.
actually
Mary.
got the Ava Maria House, which is right across the street,
Yeah,
which is a homeless. But there are many of them: the Rescue Mission, the Cares House, Hope House, Interface Hospitality.
We will have these
There-
resources
Right,
listed
right.
there are
for
many,
you guys.
but here's a problem with the resources. Some of them are outdated, and some of them are
Yes.
not
That
up to
is
date.
true.
That's the big.
So we
yeah.
we need an updated version. Somebody needs to have an updated pamphlet. We used to have
That's
them in
right.
our office, but an updated pamphlet or something that has the up-to-date resources for people that we can give them to them. You know, they need to be in churches, they need to be in schools, they
Right.
need to be in public offices, DMVs, you know, the welfare office. They need to be there, they need to be handy. That if you come across a person, well, here's a resource list and make
That's
it up
right.
to date.
Right.
That's
In
right.
addition to those big, I call those larger resources because, they are larger, but you've got people like Ty Simmons. You've got people that are setting up to feed people too locally,
right.
which is a huge thing. Upgrade the World, helping with Thanksgiving. So people are really stepping up, not just as a large resource, but as a smaller resource in the community
That's
to
right.
build something bigger.
And another resource is Pathways.
Our neutral voices.
Our neutral
Of course,
voices
and
is
we're
gonna
here,
rock out.
and we're here to be a bigger voice in the community to do exactly what we're doing right now is to bring awareness. There's a program called Pathways for Teens. Their focus is teens, street reach for the homeless. Another program, Just Neighbors, which is what we just talked about, the
Interfaith.
interfaith. And so we have so many different, the Caris House.
Yes.
And
That's
of course,
for
the
women
Caris,
and children.
I was going to say it's for women and children.
And then,
Yeah.
you got the Shepherd House. That is for vets.
And so in the rescue mission, we know is strictly for
Men.
men.
Yes.
Now, so my question is, and I don't know if you guys know watching this, what about young boys? Like, is there an age limit where they may not have a parent. 7 years old, can he go to the rescue mission? Can he?
I think you have to be 18. I think you have to be 18.
See,
to
so
get
there's a
rescue mission.
problem. So then,
There's a
so
problem.
if you're young and you're on the streets, if you know someone that's young and on the streets, then we definitely need to go to Pathways. So guys, don't forget, this is your opportunity to comment, leave questions, and even call in.
Right, or
we-
reach
we-
out.
Reach out, leave
If
your
you're not
resources.
comfortable,
If we-
send us a message.
Yeah.
If you don't want to put it out there, we're
That's
we're
right.
not experts on the situation, but
That's
we can
right.
absolutely point you in the direction of people who are.
That's right.
Yes.
So for the holidays, we mentioned Upgrade the World. So let's plug them right now that if you know families, etc., that's in need, contact us at Neutral Voices.
Right.
Right.
Want to give the number? 310?
310.
0663.
Yes, contact us and let us know how we can help you and your family for the holiday season.
Yeah, and it's even going to be harder this holiday season. And think about, like Miss Jill said, being a leasing consultant and you're seeing people that's going out. Think about it's so hard right now. People are not working, things are like that. So I understand the personal resources might be real hard. But Dr. V, you touched on it as well. Where are the body churches, not just the individual churches, but where's the body of a church? And we're not knocking churches because we know that they can only do so much. But if you come together as a body,
As
I
one
think
body, yeah.
I think we can get more accomplished instead of waiting for the next one to do it.
Well,
We
it's
just
crazy.
come
Well,
together.
You know
what?
something? It's crazy because in some churches, you don't even know if some of the members are homeless.
Yes.
And that's crazy. So I mean, we all need to come together as one
Okay.
and make sure we have all the resources.
That's right. I agree with that. So we have a couple comments, and I just want to read this. Ms. Carmen says the name of the coat that turns into a sleeping bag is called the Empowerment Plan. So
Wow.
Look for that. If you have a family that's on the street, family member, friend, etc., that might be a nice gesture for
Yes.
Thanksgiving and or Christmas. And just because, Tyra, hello, Miss Tyra is truly. She said it truly is. Volunteering holds so much meaning, and just the experience of it is life changing. And I agree with you 100%.
100%.
If you haven't, do that. It will make a world of difference. And Tyra also says people hang garage sale signs. So I feel that maybe we as a community can hang those signs in different high traffic areas, leading them in the right direction. So we agree with that.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, because have you ever seen one? Have you ever seen a sign that
Nope.
leads people?
Nope.
No.
See, so thank you, Tyra.
Yeah, we need to come
Thank
up with
you,
some
Miss
signs and
Carmen.
hit the block and do
Yes.
that.
Thank you,
awesome.
guys.
Awesome. Thank you for commenting. And we agree with that. If that could happen, I mean, that right there could change the trajectory
I don't think
for a
it
whole
should.
lot of people in
I
our
don't think it's
community.
if it could happen.
young
as
people.
we said.
We should make. We should
And
be
so
able to
many
make that
ideas.
happen.
Like, that's a simple thing. That is something that is so simple.
And you know what? Something they may not be looking out for. And I heard through the grapevine that people were still dodging this guy. But there's somebody, even though he's homeless, he's smart. And I think a lot of times we take for granted that these are intelligent people that's out there
Yes,
on the
very
street.
intelligent.
And so don't assume just because a person is homeless that they are not smart.
Or they
And
don't
so
have
this guy
skills.
is getting ready to do a class action lawsuit in Fort Wayne, Indiana, because of the way the police treats that area when they come in and destroy this place and
Yes.
take all of these people belongings, and just cruelty. And so so just kind of watch out for that because I got a
Yes.
feeling it's coming.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I think that once we as individuals can picture ourselves in that position of being homeless, I think it would change our perspective and it would change our movement.
That's everything.
we
You
have to
think
get
you
to
think have you ever thought?
Yes.
Have you ever had
Yes.
that thought?
Yes.
And I imagine, and I came up with a plan for myself. I mean, think about it.
Yes.
If it happened, you have to figure out
You
your
have
next
to
move.
figure out your next move.
And so, but at the same time, families have to be willing to open their homes
Yes.
and their hearts a little bit more, because sometimes you have a family in a household and they just like, no, you're not coming here. They're not willing to help you, not willing to pay for a couple nights at a hotel, etc. Because a lot of times we are acting selfish. And listen, just to remind you, Neutral Voices, we are here to bring awareness to all different subjects, but tonight our subject is homelessness. And if you know someone, open your heart, spread love, not just for this holiday season, but always. Miss Jill?
I have a name and a story to tell. My life is full of fascinating adventures. No fairy tale endings here, with no heroes to rescue me. I fight many battles every day, braving nature's elements, sleeping wherever I can find solace, scrounging for each morsel of food that I put into my mouth. It all takes a toll on my weak, frail body. Beyond my unkept hair, weathered skin, and tattered clothes, you will see that I am human, just as you are. At one point in time, that twinkle in my eye was not just a glimmer, but was as bright as a star, with so many plans and dreams for my life. And in an instant, life changed for me. Just like clockwork, the sun rises to start a new day. For I am thankful to be alive. I find good in the little things in life that I took for granted, that we all take for granted in our hurried and materialistic lives. Moments that don't cost a thing, but are worth their weight in gold to the heart. Homelessness touches all ages, genders, and nationalities. We are all one family on this planet. What if we thought of the whole world as our neighborhood, showing compassion to all? We are all made from the same flesh. So I ask you, will you turn your back on your brothers and sisters?
Wow.
Please don't.
Please don't.
That is awesome, Jill.
I am my brother's keeper.
Wow, this is Neutral Voices reminding you to help somebody this season. And thank you for joining us.
Good night.